Hey, you know what you do? You could do like, it could be like you bend over and then like do a tricapital sign in your asshole, and then like people trying to run out of it.
That's a great business idea.
Is it right?
We're running a porn studio.
No. It's like Josh goes, and the people like, ah.
Oh,
Jesus.
All right. Brand new episode, Eli's Viewpoint podcast. Today we have one of my good friends.
What's up, Eli?
Mike the Creamer.
What's up?
Are we doing the Creamer? Or are we...
Yeah, you know, I moved to Pensacola a little while ago. I met this dude named Bryce, and he calls me Mike the Creamer. So, everyone else, you know me as Mike D'Angelo, but you're gonna hear this guy call me Mike the Creamer. So, we're gonna run with it.
All right. Well, Mike, appreciate you coming on the show today. I know, you know, we've been spending a lot of time together.
Yeah.
Just came back from Miami.
Yeah.
And just, you know, just our whole business circle in general, you know, it's been lit lately.
It's been lit. The energy, the vibes, everything has been great. It's been just an overall great experience, and I'm glad I met all you guys because I wouldn't have had any of these experiences or opportunities come my way without you guys. So I'm incredibly grateful for that.
Facts. I'm incredibly grateful for you as well.
Yeah.
So today, you know, basically what we do on Eli's Viewpoint is, you know, we just capture stories, also help people develop a mindset of their own. You know, I like to have real conversations with people who's going through everyday trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
So that, you know, people can actually, you know, relate to, you know, the content that they're seeing. So, you know, you're somebody who you're the only pharmaceutical sales rep I've ever met in life.
Really?
Yeah, so I didn't even know what that was until I met you.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah. But talk about, you know, in this episode, I want you to talk about you in your early livelihood, and also how did you end up becoming a pharmaceutical sales rep? And
it's an interesting story, so we're into a good one.
Okay. So, yeah, let's get into it.
All right. Yeah, so I'm originally from upstate New York. Born and raised from, obviously, my parents. They're still together to this day. And I'm actually a triplet. So I've got a brother. Yeah, I got a brother and sister who are the same age as me.
Okay.
You know, very family oriented. But yeah, like I said, I grew up there, and I just moved out of my hometown to Florida, to Pensacola, about 5 months ago.
Wow.
In high school and growing up, I played soccer, and then I wanted to get good at track because I had a lot of friends who ran it in middle school. They're like, dude, you should try it out. I'm like, oh my god, that sounds so sick. Running fast? Like, hell yeah, I want to do that. That's so cool.
Right.
And at that point, I really just made a decision when I was, 14 or 15 years old to just run track and try to get really good at that. Around sophomore year, again, just on my pursuit to getting as fast as I could possibly get, I just started realizing that a lot of these sprinters that I was seeing, they're all jacked. I'm like, you know what? I got to start working out because not only will I look sexy, but I'm like, it'll make me faster. So I discovered the gym, and I started working out. And then through a lot of hard work and dedication, I climbed from literally being nothing my freshman year to my senior year. I was all-state 55-meter dash. I was all-conference in the 100, the 200, conference champion, all that fun stuff. And then, you know, I was getting letters from all these Division I schools to run. And then I ended up going and running collegiately my freshman year at a D3 school because I couldn't get into any of the D1 schools because my grades were terrible.
I had bad grades too.
Yeah.
At one point.
And then, yeah.
I just felt kind of spicy.
Yeah, exactly, right? Well, my grades were terrible, but I'm like, I wanted to run. And then, yeah, but it's interesting because I worked up so hard to get to that point to where I was at my senior year and get as good as I got. And granted, I was in New York, so I'm in Florida now. Florida's a completely different talent up in New York. But I worked so hard to get to that point, and then my last race in my senior year, right before the state meet, I won the race, the 100 meters, and I crossed the finish line, and I pulled my hamstring, and that was the end of my track career, basically. I was never the same since.
Yeah.
And it was really demotivating for me. I wouldn't say that's the right word, but I was crushed because it's like you see 4 years of hard work, and within an instant, it's just
It's gone.
taken away from you.
Taken away from
And it was just like, whoa, you know, like it was a complete shock. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of cried a little bit, I got a little teary-eyed, but it really, you know, it teaches you, you know, a lot about, like I said, yourself and just like kind of what you need to do in order to get to that point again. So, like I said, I ran track my freshman year, and I was never the same, and I went to school, particularly to that school, to run track. And then upon, you know, just having a terrible freshman year, I kind of realized, like, you know, like, this isn't going to be my life. Like, I really need to focus on something else. Like, there's got to be some other purpose of mine other than track and field. And then I really started thinking, like, you know what, I want to do something with business. So as I was having those thoughts, I'm like, maybe I should go and transfer back home. It's a better school. I could do something business there. And then my neighbor at the time, he was actually the director of admissions to the school. He was like, dude, he goes, I could get you in and you could just major in economics. I'm like, sounds good. I'm like, I'll do that and then I'll figure it out from there. So I transferred, had that happen. I knew I wanted to do something with business. And then by the grace of God, one day, my neighbors approached my mom and they were like, hey, we think that Mike, just based off his first impression, he would be really good at what we do. So my neighbors, one was a pharmaceutical rep, and the other was a pharmaceutical rep, but then he turned into a medical device rep, particularly like it's in trauma cases, selling trauma devices. And my mom was like, hey, you should talk to them a little bit more. They make a hell of a living, and from what I heard, it's really fulfilling what they do, and if they're saying that you're good at that, why not just have a conversation with them? Like, sounds good.
Right.
So, and actually, they're not the only ones. At one point, I think I had like 4 neighbors of mine growing up. They're all either pharmaceutical or medical device reps. So, like, I was already pre-exposed to the industry before.
Before you continue, what is a pharmaceutical sales rep?
Yeah, so essentially what we do is, you know, without getting too much of the nitty-gritty, but we go around and we bring offices lunch and we, you know, build relationships with the offices, the staff, the doctors, the providers, and we are responsible for 1 or 2 medications that one of these pharmaceutical companies manufactures, and we're basically responsible for driving market share for those products, whether it be, you know, convincing them to write more of the product, convincing them to start using the product over what they're currently using. So it's more of a marketing job, if that makes sense, than a sales job, but there's a lot of sales aspect.
So
It's a lot of
legal drug dealer.
essentially legal drug dealer, yeah,
Yeah,
you know.
gotcha.
So basically what pimps do. But yeah, so I did that, and I'm like, okay, like I spoke to them. I'm like, you know, that's what I'm gonna do in my life. I'm like, I'm gonna be either a medical device rep or a pharmaceutical sales rep.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's literally like that's what I'm gonna do. So he recommended, my neighbor, he was like, you should get into waiting tables when you're in college, because you can't really get sales experience to, you know, get into the industry. So he's like, just wait tables, build up your personality to a certain point, and then when you graduate, we could have another conversation. I'm like, sounds good. So it was my last year or junior year of college, and I went to the career fair for the first time, and there was a pharmaceutical company there that had a booth, and my mom texted me, she's like, hey, she's like, this company, they're here with a pharmaceutical sales internship, you should check it out. I'm like, absolutely, like, I'm gonna go. So I went there and I basically just told them, like, this is what I want to do in my life, and I made a couple connections there. They interviewed me the first time. I was just really assertive with everything throughout the process. They moved me on to the next interview with the hiring manager, and the hiring manager, when I interviewed with him, he basically has the same thing. He's like, why do you want to be a rep? He's like, how do you even know what a rep is, like a pharmaceutical rep? So I told him what I just told you about, yeah, my neighbors, they're reps, whatever, they told me to get into it. He's like, oh, who are your neighbors? He goes, I know everyone in the industry. And I told him the name of my neighbor. He's like, what? He's like, we used to be business partners. He used to work for Lilly. I'm just like, whoa. I'm like, that's crazy. So I'm like, okay, cool. So that's why I'm like, I gotta reach out to him again and see if he could reach out to this guy and just put in a good word for me. And that's exactly what I did. And he did it. And long story short, after that I got hired into the internship, and that was great. It was the summer, and then after that I graduated. They didn't give me a job offer after college because, I don't know, whatever. And again, I was kind of distraught from that. I'm like, oh my god, everyone else got a job offer, I didn't. Like, holy crap, whatever. Now I gotta figure out
So
something
you
else.
actually graduated college?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, I graduated. So, but I graduated, and I'm like, I didn't get into the industry right away.
Right.
And I'm like, this is where I want to be. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I was already here. Like, what the heck? So it's kind of not thinking from a scarcity mindset, but I was thinking like this. I'm not there, but that's where I need to be. Like, that's where I'm gonna get. So I got a job slinging some payroll for about 6 weeks after college, and I hated my life. And I'm not gonna go into too many details about that, but I was miserable. And my best friend from back home, one of them, he knew I was miserable.
Right.
And he is a local deputy in my hometown county, and he randomly messaged me one day. He's like, I think I got a job for you in pharma. I'm like, no way. I'm like, what happened? He had a new hire that he was giving a ride along with, and he randomly just asked Nick, he's like, hey, do you know anyone that wants to be a pharmaceutical rep? He's like, my girlfriend is a rep, and she's looking for a young male to be her counterpart. And my buddy's like, I got the perfect guy for you. And then after that, I got in touch with this guy's girlfriend. We connected on LinkedIn. She connected me with the hiring manager. And there's more to that story that I'm going into. But long story short, I got hired. I outbeat, I think, reps with 20 years experience versus me who literally just graduated college. And yeah, I did that for about a year and a half. After that, I left to try out medical device sales. Did that for about 10 months. Realized it wasn't for me, and then I wanted to get back into pharma, and particularly work for the company that I'm with now. And I wanted to move down south. And then I just, again, started to apply, reach out to hiring managers on LinkedIn, reach out to the manager who hired me. And that's another crazy story about how I actually got the job. But a lot of everything is kind of just trusting the universe, if that makes sense. I've had very interesting synchronicities happen to me throughout each job that have led me to make the decisions. I had the same thing happen to me with my current job, and it's been a crazy ride these past 7 months since being here and moving out to Pensacola, but everything happens for a reason, and I wouldn't be here sitting right now if none of that has happened, so I'm just enjoying the ride, so.
Gotcha. So, that was a wonderful story, actually.
It gets way more in detail, but.
I mean, welcome to share.
We'll save it for another podcast.
Okay. All right. So, with you becoming a pharmaceutical sales rep, how do you like the job per se? How's the pay? If you can get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, tell me more about it. Your day to day.
Absolutely.
What's actually going on? Do you enjoy it? Type ordeal.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, work is work. If I would say you are, you gotta figure out what you want to do, right? And I know I want to do this, but at the end of the day, whether it be this or Bryce or you doing something that you don't want to do with your business, you know what I mean? There's gonna be aspects of every job that you have, whether you're a business owner, whether it be a rep, whether it be anything that you don't like to do. But overall, obviously, you have to enjoy doing what you want to do. So, I'm not going to go into it too much, but, the pay's pretty lucrative, especially for somebody my age.
Right. How old are you?
I'm 25.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, the benefits are great. They give you a car, they give you, like I said, a great bunch of benefits, all that stuff. And each job is different. And a lot of it's based on where you live too, and again, what company you're with, what you're selling, all that stuff. So what I'm selling, and I can't really talk too much about that, but my territory is quite large. I cover 2 states and the Panhandle of Florida. But again, that's for the particular division that I am in. But again, there's other reps and other divisions that have a lot smaller geography, especially if they're in a bigger city, where they, may go to, 1 or 2 offices that are right by where they live and then call it a day or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
What else did you ask on that question?
I really forgot. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Could you get into rank? Are you if you can?
Yeah.
Are you one of the higher end
Yeah.
type dealers? I guess.
I won't really go into too much into that right
Okay,
now, just
alright,
for
gotcha.
everything. But yeah, no, it is an interesting job for sure. You're on the road a lot,
Gotcha.
so you have to. It's one thing I will say is it is a very lonely job. It's you, it's your thoughts, it's the road. For me particularly, like I'm in the car some days 7-8 hours. So you really have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, if that makes sense. You're trying to go to these offices, they don't know you have to build a relationship with them. You're trying to be the nice guy without being the nice guy, you know what I'm saying? You're just trying to be very authentic. And you're getting handling objections, you're trying to sell something. So it really forces you to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it. We're all learning still, you know what I mean? But it really teaches you all that stuff. And if there's one thing that this job has taught me, it is, if you don't respect the job, then it's going to bite you in the ass. And I think that just goes to show with anything, you know what I mean? With you guys, as far as what you're doing, like, if you don't have a certain level of respect for it, and if you're not respecting the process, then, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. And it has to me before, but it has forced me to grow up real quick with certain aspects of the job and with my life that, I'm again, very grateful for. So, but, and the other thing I will say is I'm at a point in my life, and Bryce and Josh are on here before, but, we always talk about, fulfill your dreams, find your purpose, all that stuff, and all that stuff is great. And, especially for dudes or just young people in general who don't exactly know what they want to do, but they have an idea, but they just want to get a steady stream of income coming, right? That's great, right? And I'm at a point where, again, I'm very fortunate in my life or my career where I do have a steady stream of income coming, thanks to corporate America. But now I'm at the point too where it's like, okay, great, like I have this coming, it's awesome, I'm very grateful for it, but what other skills can I develop, or what other things could I be doing that could be making me more money? I don't know if that's the entrepreneurial mindset or spirit in me, but I'm at a point in my life where you tend to become less grateful for the things that you have when you are trying to find more things to do and more things to do, or just find what you really want, right? So like, again, we talk about it with social media. You go on social media and you see these dudes that are 25-year-old millionaires, and it's just like, what? Like, that should be me. Like, why is that not me? And then you get all caught up, like, oh my God, like, it's because I'm in this job and this path. And it's like, yeah, maybe that is you, but maybe it's because this certain person took a certain risk that allowed or gave them that opportunity. And again, I'm at that point now where I have this job, but I'm trying to find out what else I am good at, so I could start to just broaden my horizons.
Are you saying you're more so looking for your purpose in life?
I wouldn't say that, but I definitely want just, and I have to be really careful of what I'm saying here.
Right.
But, I have certain goals and aspirations. And, at the end of the day, if and I work a 9-to-5 job, and again, I'm incredibly grateful for it.
Right.
And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with this job, because there isn't. But I have certain goals and aspirations that I want to accomplish by certain ages. And I'm not saying that what I'm doing now isn't going to help me accomplish those things, because it absolutely is. But if I was doing more things on top of what I'm currently doing, could I be getting that much more ahead than where I'm currently at? If that makes sense. So I'm at the point now where I'm trying to broaden my horizons to build more skill sets that are going to make me more marketable, or allow me to develop myself into certain ways that not necessarily working for somebody else can't do, if that makes sense.
And basically freeing up your time.
And free my time, trying to buy my time back. Yes. Trying to buy my time back, build up those skill sets so I could, again, just build a brand for myself. I think as a man particularly, I don't think there's anything more rewarding than being your own boss, essentially. Yeah. You could creating something, and there's nothing that I wanted. I told myself that before moving to Pensacola, that if there's one thing that I want, it's to find a group of like-minded guys and build something with them. That's the number one thing that I want in my life right now. That's going to give me the most fulfillment. It's going to give me the most creativity and the most, just, to me, freedom. And I'm glad I found that with you guys. And I'm incredibly grateful for it. And like I said, that's just where I'm at, is trying to free up my time now and find ways to make more money again, to have more free time, to have all that stuff start building on one another. So.
Gotcha. Y'all want to add any feedback?
Bryce Brown, get in here. Get in the shot, man.
Bryce is coming on camera, guys. You've seen him in several episodes before. CEO of Hoodie Gang. You know, we have this big collective, really. I guess the Hoodie Gang collective.
Yeah. And the other thing that I will say for everyone that is out here is seeing this, I moved to Pensacola, and I've always thought about it myself, but it never really started to become a reality for me until I moved here. I am also a now signed model with Eyes on Models. So
now, I want you guys to clap for him. Now, behind the screen, clap for him.
If there's any companies out there, you know, and you are eventually interested in, you know, booking me, feel free to contact them, or you can find me on Instagram. And yeah, I look forward to shooting with you. So.
All right, you know, we got Bryce in the building.
What's going on, guys? I'm Mr. Hoodie Gang.
CEO of Hoodie Gang.
Yes, sir.
So you know, Mike's, you know, telling his story. You know, he's at a point in life right now to where he's trying to buy his time back, but also develop skills that you have any. I know you're somebody who you worked a regular job at a point in time, and you were kind of down bad.
You love saying that.
Not in the same, yeah, not in the same place that he was at, but you've been in that mode of where, okay, I'm trying to develop skill sets and trying to kind of find other things that I want to do.
Right.
So I know, like, you kind of been there, you know, with your production company. You branched out, you know. You got the clothing brand, the production company, you got the media stuff, you got the Tri-Capital stuff. So, any tips you can kind of, you know, help?
Not only give me, but anyone else out there who is thinking about, you know, okay, I work this job, I have a great income, or like, you know, even somebody who isn't, you know, earning as much as me. Maybe there's somebody who's earning, you know, a random dude out there in like Oklahoma or something, earning $30,000, $40,000 a year. You know, what advice would you give them to start building something?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I would say this. There's nothing holding you back. It's all in your mind, and it's only hard if you make it hard. Making money is not hard at all. Being successful really isn't hard. It's just hard because you keep telling yourself it's hard. A lot of people don't make a lot of money. You're always taught a story from a young age. You're taught the story, and most of us are taught the story that you got to work really, 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 really hard to make a lot of money. You have to do this to make a lot of money. So you're always telling yourself it's going to be hard, and it's really not. That's why you see some people, and it's really, really easy for them and harder for others. So the advice it's possible and it's obtainable. Get yourself around people who are already doing it, and realize that you're valuable. Everyone has something to offer. I'm not more valuable than you. You're not more valuable than me. But it's just that certain people realize it sooner than others. So you create your own reality. Definitely get heavy in the books like, you know, Neville Goddard, Bob Proctor. You know, just learn the power of your mind that you create your own reality and that anything is possible. So the sooner that you figure out that you can create your own reality, and that you're powerful, not powerless, you'll be fine. Obviously, you don't know how. Like if I ask, you know, somebody right now, okay, how did you make your first $2 billion? You know, when you can only have $1,000, you know, it's going to seem so far fetched. But just realize that you're not going to know everything right now. Don't stress yourself out in the end result. Just be present in the moment and realize that you will get there. But you can only get there if you believe in yourself and start taking action. So just take action, no matter, like, your mind is always going to lie to you. Like, you're going to be scared, you're going to be fearful, you're going to be doubtful, but realize that, like, 99.9% of the time, it's really bullcrap. So just take action, really. The main thing is take action. Once you start taking action, you'll learn things about yourself, about what you're capable of, and realize that you're really more powerful than you think you are.
Moral of the story, just do it.
Really, like Nike, just do it.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And you know, I'm guilty of that myself. Just I'm sure as everyone else is. Just I'm sure as you guys are. Where it's like, you know, we know what to do from a mindset standpoint and all that stuff. But it's like it's a double-edged sword, because it's one thing to have a great mindset, but it's another thing to actually be willing to put in the work.
Oh yeah.
And you know, that's unfortunately where I think most of the people just don't do it, and it's because they think about it too much. And again, I'm guilty of it myself, just as I'm sure as everyone else is, where it's like they have they just get too caught up in their own thoughts. You know what I mean? And they just again believe their own thoughts. But I've noticed that whenever it's been anything in my life that I've accomplished that I've been really proud of, it's just because not only did I have that belief in myself that I knew I could do it, but I just did it. You know what I mean? So that's a very good point. That's a very good point. But there's also I think even another caveat to it where it's like, how can you do it if you don't know how to do it? You get what I'm saying? Like, and that could be, I feel like, get down a whole new rabbit hole. I don't know if you wanted to talk about that at all, or
Before you go, I'll touch on it. I've kind of been there before when it comes to not necessarily knowing how to do it and not just trial and error. So
Yeah.
like for me and my businesses, it's really just trial and error. Like, let's use the podcast for example. When I first got into the podcast and the whole content creation thing, I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
yeah,
But
that's a good point.
the one thing I knew what to do was, okay, I got a phone, I got a computer, and I got some editing
That's all
software.
you need.
Yeah, so I was like, well, shit, let's record a video, and hey, y'all, this is my first episode. I fucked up a lot, but I did it.
Right.
And within me doing the shit, utilizing TikTok, utilizing YouTube, following people like Prince Donnell, following people like Andrew Tate, I learned just like, okay, this is how I'm supposed to talk to the camera. Also, just, getting a part of Facebook groups. I look for, when it came to certain shit, if I ever wanted to be around a certain community that I didn't have in the Pensacola area, I look for that shit online.
Yeah.
So like, Facebook groups,
Fair enough.
Facebook groups, hashtags on Twitter, communities on Twitter, communities on Reddit, shit like that. And I kind of found people who are like, okay, this is what they're doing. This is what I need to invest in. I need some microphones. I need a soundboard. I need a studio. And just from there, I just learned I took that first step, even though I didn't know where the hell I was going.
Yeah.
But shit, I just did it.
And I didn't even know where I was going. Like with the hoodie gang thing, like we got like a 7-figure app that we have now that we're about to go crazy with. But like literally, like if you would have asked me that a year and a half, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have even thought that was so. But like now I own a piece of technology just because I took action. So with most people, realize, and if you're, and that goes to you, like speaking to the camera now. If you're ever laughing at somebody who's messing up, losing money, they're broke, they're looking stupid, they only one person likes their picture or video, guess what? Stop laughing at them because they're taking action. You're sitting back getting analysis of the paralysis. So always realize that if you take action, you're already halfway there, and you're always going to get there farther than the person who knows a lot but always overthinks stuff.
Thanks.
What is it, like 50% of it is showing up, even if not more than that?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Like it kind of goes back to what you're saying too, Josh, when you're trading, how 20% of it is actually just a technical analysis, and 80% of it is just a mindset thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it's like,
80%.
I even go to say it's like 80%. It's the 80-20 rule, right?
Mhm.
It's 80% just showing up, and the other 20% is just knowing what the fuck you're doing. Essentially, that 20% is arguably the most important. So.
Yeah, and Josh, you can even come in if you want to, and more so touch on.
You can sit on Bryce's lap.
Yo!
Yo.
One of the things that I remember. One of the things I remember you touched on was the when you were going through whatever you were going through off camera. I remember you touched on the importance of I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
touch on that.
Yeah, I say this a lot, that the sentence "I am" is like super, super powerful, and really like getting to know yourself is super powerful, and the self-talk that you have with yourself, and so like the best way to get to know someone is to ask them questions, and like you want to get to know someone, and so the best way to get to know yourself is ask yourself questions and dive deep into and build that connection with yourself, and so ask yourself the right questions and say the right things to yourself and be nice to yourself, which is such a weird thing to say.
And that is
and a weird
because,
thing that,
again, this is something I'm guilty of too, is like, we're all our own worst enemy, essentially. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I am my own worst enemy with certain aspects, and I'm very hard on myself with certain aspects, and that creates that downward spiral. You know what I mean? So that's something that, again, I'm sure other people could relate to too. It's just something that they have to work on. And
Yeah, if you've never heard anything like that before, it sounds so weird.
Yeah.
It probably sounds like, I don't know, just
Vague.
yeah, but it's if you dive into it and start doing it, it's very powerful stuff. And yeah, the I am is the idea that becoming the person that attracts those things, and not trying to get things. It's becoming
Chasing
the person,
after.
not chasing after. Yeah, it's not the chasing. It's attracting. It's being the person that attracts certain things.
pursuing something rather than chasing it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's like, I am a successful trader. I am, whatever you want to be. So, yeah. It's all about your
already
self-talk.
having those. Yeah.
It's all about your self-talk.
And yeah, that goes to show, but again, you still have to put in the work, right? Because I knew, when I was running track, I'm like, I want to be good. Like, I want to be fast. I am going to be fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just telling myself, I was so convinced that, this is what I'm going to do, and I knew how to get there, right?
Yeah.
In college, I'm like, I am a pharmaceutical rep. I'm going to be a pharmaceutical rep, eventually. You know what I mean? And it's like, even right now, I'm telling myself, I'm going to be a millionaire by 30. Like, it's going to happen. I don't exactly know how it's going to happen, per
It's
se.
going to happen.
But I know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know
The
what I mean?
how
So.
is not important at all, which is, so foreign to people. The how does not matter at all. It's developing that mindset that you are, that person. And yeah, I was telling myself that I was a successful trader before I was a successful trader. I was telling myself that I was a millionaire before I was a millionaire. It's developing that within yourself. So.
Little
Yeah.
flex of the camera, I see you.
No, it's just powerful stuff that we're talking here. So
Yeah.
it's cool.
I like it.
And I have an affirmations book that I write out affirmations, daily, and I just say it to myself. When I was down bad, when I was actually in a lot of debt, I had recordings of myself, and actually had recordings of affirmations where I would listen to it on headphones all day while I was at work, just constantly listening to positive information.
Yeah.
So
And that's the point where, again, I'm sure I'm not only guilty of this, I'm sure everyone else is, but I'm at the point too where, you have all these positive self-talks of where you're going to be, and you know where you're going to be, but you also do still have the negative self-talk, you know what I mean? For example, when I ran in college that last year, and it never was the same, it was never as good as I once was back when I was in high school. It was obviously seeing my performance, and I would just remember I told myself, oh damn, I suck. You know what I mean? But it's but I was telling myself that, and I remember it was going in such a downward spiral. Hell no, you don't suck, bro. What the hell? I just look back at it now, and I'm just damn, I can't believe I was
You were in
telling
control
myself.
because you would have told yourself I'm fast. Your brain was like, all right.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
But it's just,
I want you to read this.
It's
to the
crazy.
camera. I want you to read it out loud.
all right.
So this is something I have going on. I want you to read the purple and I want you to read the purple and the black under it. Read it out loud for the.
It left.
Damn, I almost forgot my own code. I was like, okay, now read the purple and read the black under it all the way to the yellow, please. Read it out loud for audience. So I got affirmations as well.
All right, everybody. You said the purple and the black.
Yeah.
Your passion and potential are waiting for you, or for your courage to give them the green light. Your insecurities are not powerful enough to keep you from achieving your dreams. Trust. Your best life is about to unfold. Focus on the positive and believe in yourself unconditionally. Channel your energy toward your dreams, and the universe will help you bring them to fruition.
Yes, sir.
my job.
I love that, man.
Yes, sir.
Good for you.
Hey, what app is that? I'm
Still record?
Atlas Horoscope. I sign up through an email thing online. I get emails every day.
Okay, send me that. Just text that to me. I got you.
Because it'll do it by your zodiac. There's a saying that it says billionaires.
Yeah, send it to me too.
Yeah, I got you. It's billionaires. So I forgot. I was millionaires know something, but it's billionaires know their zodiac. So apparently, like your zodiac goes a lot with manifestation too. Because I'm a Leo, so like right now it's with Aquarius.
Yeah.
It's funny 'cause like this really hot Aquarius hit me up, and it was like take a chance on new relationships and new business ventures, and I was like, what in the world?
Yeah, I gotta download one of those apps.
You know, the
But anyways, so
The biggest thing is mindset.
yeah,
Mindset is like, I'm gonna get here. I don't know how I'm gonna get here, but I'm gonna get here. 100%. And it's just like, you have to actually believe it too.
yeah,
So not just, you're just saying it and not believing it. Like,
yeah. That's a good
okay,
point.
I'm gonna do this. I know I'm gonna do this, and I actually believe that I'm gonna do this.
And also, I would say this: using FOMO for the right things. Like, I don't know if y'all picked up on that. So like, I was tired as hell, man, trying to like setting everything up like after the photo shoot and like, cause I use like a lot of mental energy, like especially on trips, like make stuff come together. I don't know if y'all peeped it, but like when y'all like, all right, me and Josh want to go to Design District, like I was like super fucking tired, dude.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I said, I had D, I was like, yo, D-Mar, I was like, we need to get on this edits right now. I was like, I need Josh stuff to look like this, you know, I need HG stuff to look like this. He's like, Roger, obviously D-Mar's like the editing. And I was like, you know what? I was like, as tired as I am, I was like, I need to go to Design District because there's no telling that by me laying down being tired, what if I miss out on a $1 billion opportunity or a great relationship just because I was tired?
Yeah.
So that's why I called y'all and I was like, I'm going. I don't know if I Peter, I was like, I'm going. And I wasn't going to shop because I mean I had more than enough clothes, but I was going because like I need to be there. I was like, I need to be supportive. I need to do anything I can.
Be supportive while I buy my Dior.
Yes. Yeah, even like I buy a Dior. But yeah, I was like in my head, I was like, you know what? I was like, people need to have FOMO on the people have FOMO on the wrong things, but I say have FOMO on the right things. Like it kind of goes like YouTube. Like if I don't invest in this YouTube right now, if I don't give it all I got right now, I'm gonna be a year behind when I could have been a year ahead. With this platform, things like that. Same thing with the music, or whether it's trading, whether it's modeling and acting, even like Eli, he got his oils and stuff like that. He's got to be like, well, dang, well, man, I may not want to go to LA, or like, let's just say it wasn't in his budget. Eli's a billionaire, but like, let's just say it wasn't in his budget. He may be like, man, but if I don't go, what could happen if I didn't go? If I'm going for business, what if I'm there and Chris Brown's like, yo, I love this, there's no telling that what can happen.
Exactly.
Cause like how I look at it is like, imagine if you guys never would have been to Miami.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that first. Matter of fact, Bryce took me to Miami for the first time. That was like not even 2 months ago.
Not even 2 months ago.
Not even 2 months ago, and this is it. Like I fell in love with the hustle, the culture, everything. Like I'm moving to Miami now.
Exactly.
So it's like,
And I was talking to him, like I talk to most people who want to move or do things, and as you know, Josh is gonna have an office here and something in Miami as well, so he'll be back and forth as well. But it's kind of crazy how like it's so clear how everything will point to like hey, this could benefit you, but people will still like freeze up like I don't know, this and that and the third. And even like I was talking to Eli, like there's somebody right now probably has $1 million in their bank account, and you say, hey, you should have moved to Miami. If you move to Miami, I knew a guy who actually trades in his YouTube. He said he made like $10 million. He said he went to Miami. He said he realized he could be the maid there because he went at the gym. He met a guy who made $150 million, and then he ran into a billionaire the next day. And both of those same guys were like, we'll have lunch and talk. But he moved from California. He kind of realized like man, he's like, I kind of realized like the quicker I throw myself to the wolves, the faster I gotta get. But
yeah.
Right now there's somebody with $500 in the bank account who's gonna move to Miami or LA and give it everything they got. And there's somebody with $100,000 who's still saying, I don't know.
And that's a very good point, Bryce. Because if you just throw yourself to the wolves, that's how you learn the quickest. It's either sink or swim. Every point in my life, when it was trying to learn how to serve tables in college, or getting hired into this industry right out of college as a 22-year-old, and again, I'm very grateful for it, but it's not normal for a 22-year-old to get hired into the industry right out of college. And it's just like you get fed to the wolves and you learn to grow up quick. And that's really, what it comes down to.
What was that?
That's that. So.
That was Eli, that wasn't me.
But yeah, just gotta keep throwing yourself to the wolves.
and execute. The biggest thing I want you guys to learn from this podcast is the power of executing and believing. So if you're trying to accomplish some shit, you gotta believe it. You gotta believe the shit that you're telling yourself, and then you gotta execute. Like you just gotta do the shit. Like even if you don't know what you're doing or how to do it, just do it. Like when I started the podcast shit, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just did it, and now I got like a whole studio that I don't even have to rent. I don't have to pay rent or anything. Shit. Like I remember times where I used to. When I first got into the podcast shit, bro, me and my homeboys, we would come up with like, what, fucking $60. Like, bro, COVID, we was so fucked up, bro. We used to come up with like $60 just to rent a studio. And then had to come up with bread to pay camera crew and shit like that. But, you know, now I got a fucking studio. I don't got to pay for camera. I don't got to pay for lights, and none of this shit. And then also, traveling, you know, introduced me to. I got people in Miami that creator studio. They want me to bring my podcast out there. So it's like, you know, you just always got to be executing.
You gotta bet on yourself. Y'all bet on everything else, but y'all don't bet on yourself.
And the other thing that I will say too is I think that if you are definitely in tune with who you are and you're on that path, I think the universe does a good job at showing you certain signs of whether or not this is the opportunity that you need to take. Like I said, I've had more of my story happen to me that I believe were signs of the universe that were like, hey, you need to take this opportunity, and each one of those signs has now led me to this opportunity right here.
What?
Huh?
Oh, we saw 111 in Miami.
Yeah, everywhere, bro. But even more beyond that, like again, I've more to the story that I haven't gone into, but if you're more in tune with yourself and you pay attention to those signs, the universe kind of, again, shows you exactly what you need to do and how you need to get there.
And also realize that you're valuable by being yourself, because nobody can be you. So find out like what you love to do and what you're best good at, and like that's always your angle, your point.
But at the end of the day, that doesn't come without taking action.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
When you seek out finding that information, more of it will reveal itself. The more you seek it out, the more it will reveal.
That's true.
What do you mean?
Like the more you seek out finding out about yourself, and the more you seek out, you know, finding those connections, and you know, the world.
The deeper you dig.
Yeah, the world reveals itself. Yeah.
Interesting.
I'll give you a perfect example of that shit. When I first got into the real estate business, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and real estate school doesn't teach you how to be a real estate agent.
No.
So on my own, like right out of high school, I had to figure out, okay, let me just interview with every real estate company in the area. And just from learning what different companies had to offer, I learned how to deal with the structures and shit. As far as, you know, what percentages you're getting paid, this, that, and the third. And I just kept learning. Then when I eventually signed to a company, I still didn't know what the hell I was doing, bro. Yeah. It took me a whole fucking year. So I sold a house. My very first year, I sold one house. And I still didn't know what the hell to do. I didn't know how to write a contract. I didn't know how to I didn't know how to show a fucking house. I didn't know how to get clients. But I kept seeking. I kept trying. I kept seeking. Yeah. Even though I didn't have no help. Like, people in the office, they wouldn't fucking help me.
No, that's good. Yeah.
But, you know, I just kept seeking. Every person I ran into, I just like, hey, I do real estate. You know, come fuck with me. This, that, and the third. And eventually one day, it was on the showing I had. I was showing this one house. This guy is one of my old mentors from the past. She's like a huge real estate guy here. He was just like, yo, what's up? What you got going on? You know, I was honest. I was like, bro, like, I'm fucked up right now in business. And then he was like, bro, like, come over here. I teach you the game. Everything you want to know. And then eventually I got on the right team, and the shit turned my whole business around. Yeah. Know how to write contracts and shit. But I had to say that I know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know where the fuck I was going, but I just kept doing it. Mm-hmm. So I kept, you know, getting as much education as I could on YouTube, buying the books, and also just seeking people every day. Even outside of real estate, like fucking meeting Bryce. Like, I met Bryce damn near, but
dude, he met me through recording the first music video for my album.
Facts, but see,
but
I wasn't even fucking with Bryce.
Yeah,
then like
exactly.
I didn't even remember until Ted reminded me, like, you know, this the dude you met, like.
Me neither. I don't remember either.
I was
That's
like,
crazy.
what the fuck?
But it goes to show you how one thing can lead to another if you just go. Because imagine if people be like, I'm tired, I'm staying home. I don't do music, so I'm not gonna go. Imagine that.
Facts.
He would have been pregnant, bro.
And I didn't even know, and at the time, like at the video, I didn't even know like what the hell we were doing. He was just like, bro, I need to be taking this video. So I was like, okay, well, shit,
Yeah.
let's go. And then, but fast forward later, fucking, I think it was like it was a few months or up to a year, wasn't it?
Something like that. A few months. Or maybe up to a year.
Few months up to a year. Then it's like, we just kept seeing each other. I know we kept seeing each other downtown and shit like that. And then eventually that led to the end of our first interview. And ever since then, we just been locked in.
Locked in, exactly.
And now we down there talk every day.
Exactly, bro. Exactly, bro.
But it's just more so just I see. So, because even at that time, at that music video, I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
Even just, hanging out with Ted and with his music shit happening with his music career and shit. I didn't know, none of us knew what the hell we were doing, but we were
taking action.
We were just taking action. We were just doing it. We just like, okay, shit, we doing a collab with Hoodie Gang. Let's see where the fuck this shit take us. And then eventually, it manifested to where I'm moving to Miami. Ted wanna move to Miami. And we're keeping it going. But we just took the action and we just like, bro, like we gonna make it. We don't know how we gonna make it, but we gonna make it.
We gonna make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's like how I met Atlanta is really just by somebody, a bad business partner who invited me on a business trip to Puerto Rico. But through going to Puerto Rico, I ended up meeting a girl on Instagram who was in LA, who's very well connected, and the girl from LA is the one who introduced me to Atlanta online, and then me and Atlanta got locked in online before I went to Miami. So it's kind of weird how things like that happen.
Yeah.
But if I would have never took the business action, even though it didn't work out well, if I never would have went to Puerto Rico, I wouldn't know who Atlanta is, and I wouldn't have gone on his list. It's crazy how, but doing this thing, taking action always works.
Right. So just do it, and it might even. That's another thing too, that I would like to tell anybody who's on the journey to success. It might take somebody 1 year. It might take somebody 6 months. It might take you 10 years.
But it's gonna happen.
But it's gonna happen.
And not to cut him off, but a lot of times, like I would say this: treat everyone with respect. Don't put anyone down. People are always watching you, and always do your best. And always in this, when it comes to building relationships and being yourself, always work on yourself, and always collaborate and help other people, because that person you may meet Rick Ross tomorrow. But y'all may not even talk, or y'all may talk every now and then, but y'all may do $1 billion business venture 7 years from now.
Facts.
So a lot of people who I've met now, we do, like me and Josh probably known each other for about, 2 years? I always see him downtown, I see him around like people, mutual friends, but like we may not have done business then, but like 2 years later, here we are. But like, I know about Josh, like, okay, I never see this guy get in trouble, he treats everyone with respect, he's really good, people like to be around him. He's always probably saying to me, okay, with this Hoodie Gang stuff, he's consistent with it. Okay, I see him doing this, and I'm seeing him doing this. So we both had our own thing going on. We were both consistent. So don't come to people looking for a handout. Just keep doing what you're doing, even if your following is not that big, even if it's small. But you bring something unique to the table. Keep doing what you're doing. There's no trader like Josh in Pensacola. There's nobody who has the oils and the Alexander brand. Michael's a pharmaceutical sales rep. He the only pharmaceutical sales rep I know. But now he's signed to a modeling agency. So
there's no one as handsome as me out here.
Exactly. So and there's no Michael Creamer. So like that being said, it doesn't matter. Don't compare yourself. It doesn't matter how big or small you are. But just remember, keep building on what you got going on, and everything will fall into place later. But if you peep one thing, all of us have the same mindset. Whether someone's starting to be on that mindset, like Mike, who's going to get there and excel. Or somebody's already on that mindset. If you notice one thing, we're all on that same frequency. Mike's frequency is starting to change and become higher and higher and higher. So, yeah. I'm 100 now, so I'm going to see y'all later.
Alright.
Well, yeah, this has been anything you want to,
Yeah, no, I thank you for having me on here. I appreciate it. And
most
hopefully my story can inspire other people out there to start pursuing their dreams, and none of us are alone on the path. So,
anything we wanna anything we should take into consideration? Anything you wanna shout out? Anything you got coming up?
Yeah, nothing. Like I said, I mean, unfortunately, I have shoulder surgery coming up in the next month and a half or so, which I'm hoping for a speedy recovery on that. But like I said, I moved to Pensacola. I have my 9 to 5 going on, but I also what? No, I was gonna say I have I'm now a signed model. So you can find me on Instagram at Mr. Mike D'Angelo, and I have any information on there. And like I said, I'm on there. So if anyone wants to reach out to me on there, you can. Shut up.
Facts. Yeah, this has been another episode of Eli's Viewpoint. Follow me on Instagram at Eli Alexander. Shop at alexanderbrand.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like the video, share it. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Yo.
Cool.
Bro, I'm telling you, it's gonna be hard, bro.
Yeah.